Hello and welcome to our newest CHC expert interview. My name is Stefan Poschig from CHC Corporate Health Consulting, and we help consultants, coaches, and trainers grow their business and multiply their revenue. Today, I have a super interesting guest and a super interesting expert because he's bringing so much experience in different areas. So hello and welcome, Arno Wohlfahrter. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello and thanks, Stefan. Myself is just I think, interesting story. From a technical engineer to a sports pro in cycling, and then over in the cross industries in senior management positions, CEO positions and roles. And in between, always stepped in and out from corporate to consulting. And that gave me a huge overview about different industries, processes, people, cultures. And that's a very interesting part to now integrate in my consultancy.
That's awesome. And that's one of the reasons why I really looked forward to this interview. So you have a lot of experience from sports, then from entrepreneurship and also employment. So what do you like most? What is your passion?
I liked all in the phase where I have done that.
Okay.
I think the basic thing is do that what do you like always, and if you feel that you don't like it anymore, change it.
Awesome.
It doesn't matter how big the paycheck is. If you don't feel that's the right thing you're doing, if you have losing the purpose, you have to change and find the right purpose again. Mm-hmm. So the difference in sports is you have not to discuss about the purpose, because pro sports is purpose driven. If you don't have the purpose, you never invest in the training, in the skill set, in order to be able to survive the business and to shape your business. And that's a huge difference. And that's interesting to transfer into corporations and also consultancy businesses.
Yeah. That's also very interesting, because what we see in a lot of coaching sessions, that a lot of people are afraid to change what they actually do, even if they already lost their purpose. So is this something, or how did you deal with these situations? Because you changed a lot in your career.
Yeah, changed industries, but the basic behind has always been business model transformation.
Okay.
And so the red line has always been, there's a business had to be transformed, to be developed. And it never has been just, let's say, backward restructuring. In some extent, they have to do that all the time in order to be able to deliver operational excellence. But the real purpose is how to drive culture ahead and how to create a performance culture instead of an administrative culture. And stepping in and out is not as easy. And I understand if people are not having fear or to some extent to step out, because at the end of the day, it's also economic behind. And maybe you have the cost, you have the family, you have to pay the bills.
Oh yeah, that's true. Even as an entrepreneur, you have to pay your bills.
Yeah, it sounds much easier to step in and out as it actually is in the situation. But at the end of the day, I can't just speak for me. It has always been the right step. Has it been easy? Not at all. So, but nevertheless, not doing that, what you think is the right thing for you, I could not do that for 20 or 30 years. So
yeah. I totally know what you mean. I totally know what you mean, because I experienced this so many times also in my past. Yeah. So the consulting space definitely is changing rapidly at the moment. So many new opportunities are arising. So what is needed for a consultant now to become successful or to be successful?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I think there is not the one way. There are a lot of ways, and the question is what oneself as a consultant, or I better say as a sparring partner, is representing, and where can step in. It's just a, let's say, day per day engagement, or it's a long-term relationship. I personally prefer longer-term relationships. Why? Because So day-to-day consultants, you can bring your input, but I prefer to really be sparing partner of a corporation, a company, also of people, and then it's also more resilient against volatility in the business flow.
Yeah. And I think you can change much more in corporations, or also when you work together with somebody as a sparring partner, because actually, I mean, honestly, what can you change when you do a 1-day workshop or a 3-day workshop? In my opinion, there is not a lot of sustainability in working like this.
Yeah, you can, let's say in the strategic point of view, you can challenge strategies, you can challenge roadmaps, you can challenge the content, but you never can contribute to transformation.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think it was Bert Brecht who wrote it at first, before the world is evolving and changing, the individual must alter itself. So it's always us as an individual. And I think being longer in allows also to support and to enable the organization to really contribute in the daily operation then to that what happens there. And the question always is, what was the extent of future an organization is ready and able to bear at the moment in the present. So too much future here and now is maybe too disruptive. And it's always, I think it's always a combination of the right mindset, a commitment, but also skill sets to be developed over time.
Definitely. So a lot of really, really super interesting things here already. So what was one of the things what impressed me most when we talked before the interview is you told me that you had a different approach when it comes to pricing as a consultant or as an entrepreneur. What we see in a lot of coachings with consultants, coaches, and trainers is they always try to sell hour against money and another hour against money, or a day against money, and stuff like that. And then probably at some point you want to go on holidays, or you want to do a vacation, or your kids are ill, or you are ill, and a lot of things can happen. Yeah. So when you don't work, when you are a one-man show, you don't earn money actually. And that's one of the problems what we see in so many entrepreneurs. And this is also something why a lot of people are failing within the first couple of years, because they don't have this consistent cash flow. They don't have this consistent money coming in. And at some point it breaks down and there is no money left. And so they have to go back. They are forced to go back to employment, even if they probably don't want to go back. Yeah. So what is your approach and what is your point of view when it comes to this?
I never sell time.
Okay.
I do not sell time. I sell experience and expertise. So selling experience, expertise is out of my point of view, complete different approach. And I think selling time to a lot of customers, at least for me, I'm not able to deliver the quality and the input quality I would like to deliver in that system. So therefore, I search for 2, 3, 4 maximum customers and clients where I sell time, but on a monthly fee basis, and maybe plus success fees. Does it work always? No. But I think that could be a concept where first you have a much bigger and huger impact in organizations because you really are the sparring partner over time. Secondly, you deliver much more quality because you're deeper in all the related issues and topics of the company, and I think you can leverage much more in that approach. And if you're able to agree a success fee for some projects, then it's better than not having that. So
100%, 100%. So is this also a way how a consultant can scale? Of course, this is also what we get asked a lot of times. Okay, I'm just for myself. I do consulting, but how can I grow? How can I scale my business? Because I just have limited time every single week where I can work.
Well, scaling business. So the year has 365 days. Out of that, you have normally 220 working days.
Yeah.
If you look at that and say, okay, preparation and the wrap up afterwards, documentation, I think if you can sell as a one-man show 100 days, that's a lot, because if you sell 100 days, you have to do a lot with preparation and documentation. So it's for sure 200 days, 250 days of work.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Therefore, the question is always, do I like it to work as a one-man show or not? So I can do it. Do I like it always? No, I have done that. But I like it much more to have smart people around, also for reflection, also for discussion, for finding maybe other solutions than I can find. So I think working in networks could be one approach to leverage the revenue stream.
So this brings me directly to the next question. You just started this. Do I need employees to be able to scale, or would you recommend building a strategic partnership network and grow with partners?
I think it's both is very valid. It depends on that what one really likes to have. We all know what does that mean having employees. So if you like that, do it. If not, work in free floating networks with expertises you buy, let's say case per case.
Yeah.
But I think it can be also a combination. I would not say that the one or the other is in favor. I think every constellation has pros and cons, depending on the context where I am in and depending on the personality behind. So
yeah,
I think it must fit to oneself. That's the first principle.
I totally agree when you are already pretty experienced in the marketplace or in general. But when somebody is pretty new, for example, or is very young, don't have a lot of working experience, or probably have no working experience and start as a trainer or a coach or whatever, would you still recommend starting with employees if he likes to have employees, or would you recommend starting with partners to gain this experience and to be more familiar with all this business stuff in general?
I think that's just a matter of your personal risk evaluation.
Okay.
So having employees means you're obliged to pay the payroll. Also, if you don't have revenue stream, so you have to pay. So that's a fixed that's a fixed cost block. Yeah. If you like that, and if you think you can be that, and you have a stable business behind and the business pipeline. Yeah. Why not? It's more stability, maybe it's more commitment in some extent. So there are really pro cons, but that's so individual. Yeah. If you don't like to have the risk paying the payroll out every month, and I think the critical thing is just maybe you have not enough time then for yourself and the strategy behind, because you're always in the acquisition mode and you have to bring in the business volume in order to be able to pay the pay slips. Yeah, definitely. But I would not say one in favor of the other. I think that's so individual and depending on the leader who is doing that, and the consultant, and on the personality with which you are feeling well and safe and sound. Yeah, I think all concepts are there and potentially successful. Yeah,
definitely. Awesome. So next question, remote consulting or digital services. So especially during the last 3 years, massive change was going on. For example, when we take CHC, we did a lot of corporate projects, and we were 100% specialized for on-site delivering from our services before COVID hit a couple of years ago. So at the beginning, we were forced to pivot. We were forced to transform the way we are doing business massively and completely. And in the meantime, I'm so happy that we were forced to, because in the meantime, we are 100% remote and 100% digital. So we are delivering our workshops, our trainings and everything remote through Zoom, MS Teams, and all the tools are available. So how do you see these opportunities, and how would you leverage remote consulting services or use remote consulting services?
So I have been forced during the lockdowns to manage and to transform a company through the lockdown with 6,000 employees.
Wow.
And I have done it remotely. So have I liked that? No. Why? Doing that in a restructuring and in a transformation necessity means that you have to deal with social topics over digital channels. Mm-hmm. And really, I prefer to sit on the other side of the people, looking them in the eyes and talking with them, because it's fair enough to do that. So coming back, I think the remote work and digital work allows us a much higher degree of flexibility. Mm. For me, it's not an either-or approach. It's a combined and a really synergetic approach. Mm-hmm. My experience is there where the personal relationship is established, you can do much more over digital media. There where you never have met the people before, it's a different case for me, at least. Maybe I'm old school there in because I'm not the youngest guy there. Maybe young consultants which are grown up with digital technology, dealing in a different way, maybe. But at the end of the day, economy is created through interaction of people, individuals. So therefore, at the end of the day, we're dealing with social systems, we're dealing with values and beliefs. And I think at the end of the day, it's important to feel it. On the technical basis, on the content basis, on the whatsoever, let's say, just to transport ideas, you can do that. Mm-hmm. To create a real commitment, I think a face-to-face approach, at least in some steps in a consultancy or in a relationship, from time to time, helps to establish a sound relationship and a deeper relationship. That's my belief. Yeah. And must not be right. It's just my belief. Yeah.
I think we will need a lot more when it comes to a digital communication skill set in the future, because I agree. What I definitely agree with all the communication and how we build rapport and how we build trust and how we finally do business together. But what I see is everybody jumped to these digital services, especially during the pandemic. But most of the people are not even good in communication and building relationships in the offline world. Then they jump to the online world, and it's even worse. Because when I don't know how to communicate with somebody, when he's sitting in front of me or next to me, it's even harder or nearly impossible to build a relationship over Zoom or whatever tool I'm using. So I think this will be a massive needed skill set in the future, also for companies. So when they have hybrid workshops or hybrid models, when somebody is working remote, somebody is in the office or in the meeting room or stuff like that. So I think there is a lot of potential still open here. Yeah.
Look, if I go in there with a metaphor. Yeah. So imagine that the Tour de France will be just executed over esports. And that scene in the corporate world is more or less the same. Yeah. What is releasing the energy for Tour de France? The moods and all behind. Yeah. And then all the stories and all the pain and suffering. You can suffer in a room with esports on the bike, and you can ride wherever in the world the people and the riders are sitting, the Tour de France. Then you say, oh, I have the screen there, a digital screen, and I see how they fight on the screen.
Yeah.
But there's no one spectator tifosi at the road.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Side road. There's nothing released on a really collective power and fascination.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the same I see in the corporate world.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can set up a digital company.
Yeah.
Would I like that? Only having that, no way out.
At least, Arno, as we are not all in the metaverse and nobody is leaving home anymore and everybody is sitting with his glasses at home.
Yeah, there's a really cool film. I think it's Surrogates.
Yes, I know it. It's an awesome. It's
so
awesome.
And for me, I like it to be out there in the nature, because we are not existing without nature. Maybe we deny that fact. But at the end of the day, we risk to end up there where the people sitting there in the chairs and are with the avatar in the real world out there. So it's I like the film because I think there's a lot of that what we are seeing and facing today. It's in there.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, we are social individuals. And I think we need, as humans, we need the social interaction face to face, because that is energy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Awesome. Arno, we could go on and on and on. Thank you so much for all these insights and all this experience you just shared with us and also with our audience. So if somebody wants to reach out to you, want to connect with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
The best way is over LinkedIn.
Perfect. That's perfect. So we will definitely post your profile and tag you when we send it online. So thank you so much again. I really appreciate it, and I'm really looking forward to further communications and conversations. And to all of you out there, all the listeners, listen to this again and again and again, because there is such tremendous value and such tremendous experience you just heard over the last couple of weeks. Minutes, and apply it, and it will help you become more successful and grow your revenue. So thanks again, and a lot of success to all of you.
Thanks, Stefan, and good luck to all. Bye-bye.